this is a public meeting for our Cary Sports and Community Center. Incredibly exciting project. Really glad with the turnout. So thank you all for braving coming out in stormy weather, rainy weather. You guys just really want this. It's good. It's good. Real quick, my name is Doug McGrady. I am the Director of Community Projects here in Cary. And without further ado, let me make one elected official, which is Mayor Cary. The mayor gave State of the Town address at Prestonwood today, which will take a lot of work. So for him to do that, and then to come here tonight, shows a lot of dedication. Thank you, Cary. Great. All right, let's. So-called picture. All right. So, why are we doing this? Why are we here? Why are we here tonight? We have 3 community centers. I'll show you that in a second. Believe it or not, it's been 20 years since the last community center was constructed. And we are now, the town is 182,000. And one of you would say how much was the population of 2000, 2002?
Since I've been there, probably about 60,000.
Anyways, 60,000. A lot has changed. Cary is a very different place, far more diverse. And it is more than time for us to begin investing into our new community centers. And here's a map. The orange circles are 3 existing community centers: Middle Creek Community Center, Bond Park, and Herb Young, which is where we're at. And then the two green stars are the 2 projects that we're working on simultaneously. Mills Park over west of 55. And what we're here tonight to talk about is the Sports and Community Center to be located at South Hills. And here is just FYI, this is the map of Mills Park if you haven't been there. And there's elementary school, middle school there. There is a park, and then it's the location of a future community center. So we are working on both these projects, this and South Hills, simultaneously. Little background information about this project. I called it the Cary Sports and Community Center because around 2016, when our new town manager came, first thing he said, beautiful community center, but outdated. Where he came from in Illinois, they had a nice, modern, multi-generational center. And instructions to me is we need to start working on a new community center. Right around the same time when he and I were having a conversation, the Convention Tourism Bureau were putting the finishing touches on a strategic destination plan. The top priority for that was an indoor, multi-purpose court facility. Wake County has a lot of different venues, sports venues. In fact, Cary has 3 of those sports venues. But the one thing lacking in Wake County is an indoor venue. And it was considered a top priority for this plan. Wake County kind of took that and basically came up with a request for proposal that was issued out, asking basically 4 proposals for any community that wanted to invest in or construct such a facility. We actually were the only community that submitted that because we said, okay, we want to do a community center, let's go ahead and do both since we are in the venue business as it is. And in 2020, we were awarded by Wake County $35 million towards that bid. So this facility that we're talking about tonight is going to be a community center. It does have that sports aspect to it compared to Mills Park. So, next steps. This is our first public meeting for the big project, and we're expecting to have a total of 3 public meetings. And in the spring, we'll be setting a date here in a few weeks. we'll be scheduling our second public meeting, and we're on, tonight, we're just getting input, and then we'll be developing some concepts. When you come back to the second public meeting, you're gonna wanna do that. You'll have a chance to review those and give us some direction as far as choices to be made for the future. The overall schedule, whenever I give months or dates, usually it gets off, and it's hard to keep, but our projected schedule now for the Mills Park and the Sports and Community Center is to begin to wrap things up in August, with hopefully council approval in September. And then sometime in 24, we're going to be looking at a future bond referendum, but to be decided. That'll be. But anyways, right now September is our date that we're looking for. They have a proposed plan to submit to council, and we have a survey that's been online. Some of you may have already taken it. It's been out there for a month or so. It'll be open until February 28th. We've already had 2,700 people take it. It's not that very long, but it's providing us with excellent input. QR code, if you take that, it'll take you directly to the survey. If you haven't taken it, by all means, take it tonight, and you can get the whole thing done. And I think with that, I want to introduce Amber Luther with the Forum Populous, and she will introduce her team, and go over the facility that we'll talk about tonight.
Perfect. And I'm going to try to keep it short. We want to be less than 25 minutes here so we can go into the next room and have a little fun together. My name's Amber Luther. We have a huge team with Populous and Davis Kane as our local partners. As you can see, a lot of these people may not be here tonight, but the folks in orange are. I'll start and then maybe introduce some of the folks on the screen so you can talk to them in the next room after this. My name's Amber Luther. I'm an architect and principal with Populous. I've been doing this for 20 years. I do large public sports facilities, and most of the folks on our team do the same. We've got Jimmy Edwards, from Davis Kane, and Beth King. They're going to be our local partner architects. They're actually the architects of record for the project. And then we have Anthony Lonergan and Ryan Sellinghausen and Gudmundur Jönsson are here representing our sort of architecture and community recreation backbone. And then Rachel Fox Evans is here as well, and she's one of the planners on our team. We've got a bunch of other people and partners who are going to be touching this over the next couple of months, so you'll hopefully hear from them in future meetings. And we're going to try and keep this presentation short today. For those of you who aren't familiar with the project, didn't see the pretty renderings in the news or on the website, we're going to give you a little overview of that. Doug talked about the why. I think that's really important. 20 years is a long time to go without upgrading any of your public community facilities. It's something that I think a lot of communities are doing post-pandemic to really focus on wellness and engagement. And then we want to really hear from you about program opportunities tonight. This is our opportunity to listen. You saw some renderings, you saw some things online. That's not the final product. We want it to be that, right? But it's not final until you guys tell us, yes, we love this, and by the way, we need a couple more of these things in there. So we're going to go through the workshop in a little bit and the details of that, but Doug talked a little bit about the schedule. This is the bigger picture. Hoping everything goes well. If everybody's like, well, when will this be open, right? I think at the earliest, 2027. So we're way at the beginning over here, and hopefully, we can go through this process over the next couple of months to find the needs, figure out the back end, and get it open before 2027. But these projects are large, and there's a lot of variables. Things will change along the way, and that's okay. There's a reason good things take time. And so looking at just our next couple months, Doug mentioned there's a couple of public meetings sprinkled in here, probably, scenarios in May or June. We're going to be trying to hone in May on a final recommendation, and we hope to use the next public workshop to get your preference from a couple of scenarios, and we'll give you the data and visuals you need to be able to really weigh in on those kinds of things. And then, hopefully what we can do is if things are moving forward and we feel like this is progressing nicely for the referendum, we can then start the process of schematic and design development and documenting the project for probably another year and a half after that. I think it's really important for everybody in this room to understand the goals with which this project was founded on. These were decided by the people that serve you, not by us. I think they're really important. Designing an indoor sports facility that hosts major tournaments into a modern multi-use community center, incorporating innovative and sustainable development, urban design and architecture. I think sustainable is a really key word there, something that is not only environmentally friendly, but is sustainable financially for the community. And it has to be iconic. We know Cary isn't just any town. I saw your address this morning. I thought it was a perfect representation of people who are great leaders and visionary and still maintaining that small town feel. We don't want this to be any different, right? How do we integrate this into a mixed-use development? Ultimately, there will be development around this facility. We will call this facility the anchor. So I think it's important to think of it within that context. And then also really achieving that Convention and Visitors Bureau goals to get this regional tourism draw. I think there's a huge opportunity for revenue generation there that's completely untapped. And then also, figuring out how we can address public health and wellness issues with some of the spaces we create, how we can engage our younger talent and keep them motivated and healthy. All of these things are going to be really crucial no matter what the design ends up being at the end of the day. And then, thinking about our site over time, for those of you who don't know, this is currently the South Coast Mall site that we're proposing the center facility beyond. It's a development that hasn't been touched really since the 90s, so quite a long time. And I think it's in need of a little bit of reinvigoration. So you can kind of just see in these images, some of them are a little hard to read because they're particularly old. That really, I think there's a lot of potential for redeveloping this area and making it better. And what we want to do, right, is we don't want to build a city there, but we want to think about things that people need and what they want to work, live, and play, and how we can make the building, the center building, an anchor for this district that's hopefully made up of residential, office, and retail uses that's sort of keeps it active 24/7. So these are some of the things that we think about as we go through that process. And how can we maybe weave in all the benefits of an urban experience at a smaller town scale, right? And how do we do that right? So there's a whole separate team working on that outside of the team you're with today, and you'll probably see presentations from them in the near future. They're running parallel to this to figure out what type of mixed-use development it is around our building. And I think for those of you that haven't seen the plans, and you'll see these in the next room if you haven't already, the building is really made up of three parts. It's the community center. Let me see if I can sort of in this zone here. It's a 4,000 fixed seat arena. There's parking underneath a larger sports complex, which is essentially made up of a multitude of basketball, volleyball, could be pickleball, could be futsal. There could be a lot of things that happen in there. But those are the three major components, and then it's held together with the glue, I like to call it, which is some very large public spaces that are both indoor and outdoor. Think about it. When you have 12 basketball teams playing in a tournament, or all the families that come with them, and then the community center is populated, and maybe there's a corporate event going on in the arena, that's a lot of people coming in and out. So you want to make sure you sort of have this comfortable flow in between all of these rather large pieces of program. And try to figure out, how can we incorporate things that don't exist in Cary today, an indoor walking track that weaves throughout the building and kind of gives everybody a different experience. Some indoor-outdoor fitness spaces. How can we think about people coming who are visiting and spectators at a tournament? Am I a parent and I'm going to a tournament and I just sit in a hard bleacher? I'd rather not do that. I'd rather have a little bit of, maybe a dining experience, maybe have a little bit of co-working space or some child watch space while I work out. So we're thinking about all of those program components. And we're also thinking about what happens directly outside and on top of the building. And there's a lot of sustainable strategies we're looking at, solar, but also activating a portion of this very large roof. Can we have events up here? Can we do outdoor movies? Can we rent it out for weddings? What are things we could do that are going to be fun and sort of align with the culture of Cary? And so what we're going to ask you to do in the next room is really sort of give us your opinion on those things. And we have 6 tables set up. We're going to, maybe go through a high level of some of the things we've been hearing program-wise, but, hearing from you the types of things you'd like to see happen in the building, what you don't want to see, what we don't need. And then thinking about not only the space, but the activities that might happen within there. I see a very diverse group here today. I'm super excited about some of the things we're going to hear, but we already had the survey up, and so just to kind of give you a little bit of a starter course in programming, one of the cool things we started to hear is sort of a validation of these multi-use courts, right? So, a court can be something that's open for a pickup game, for basketball. It can host, a variety of abilities in terms of the sports that they offer. It can host pickleball. It can do volleyball tournaments. There's all kinds of things that one space can do. So we want to understand what are some of the things you guys would want to do in there. And also think about group exercise and how we can maybe have more of those types of spaces and make them more multi-purpose. And what are some of the activities that might go on in there? Martial arts, is it gymnastics, is it yoga, is it indoor, is it outdoor? And then also thinking about some of the community recreation elements that we're seeing in other centers around the country pop up, bouldering or some form of climbing, thinking about a test kitchen or a community kitchen, thinking about, how we can think about indoor turf if that's needed, fitness spaces that are sprinkled throughout. And also, how can we have some flexible event space that's available for, community meetings, corporate meetings, e-sports events, and how we can think about offering new programs that draw maybe a different demographic of people into the building. I heard there's some robotics folks out there today, so I'm anxious. And also thinking about how we can pair with people's lifestyle choices. I think some of the things we're hearing from the survey at the first look are, supporting families and particularly working mothers, and how can we think about, offering a child watch space so they can go work out for a few hours or attend a meeting. How do we think about indoor and outdoor play spaces? What do those look like? What's already in the community that exists, and how can we make something authentic and unique for the South Hill site? And then also thinking about really versatile outdoor spaces. So, can we have farmers markets? Do we need another spray ground, or is the downtown Cary Park going to be enough? Can we have places where we have Ninja Warrior outside, or regular workout areas that are outdoors? I think we're seeing a lot of these things in other parts of the country. I see no reason why they couldn't happen here. And then lastly, the sustainable strategies that will support all of these things and make the building fiscally responsible for itself moving forward. This could be anything from what we do with the site and stormwater to, can we think about evapotranspiration for our materials on the exterior? Can we think about a breathable building to minimize the need for additional HVAC and energy costs? Can the building generate a significant portion of its own energy that it uses? These are all of the things that we're trying to identify now, in addition to making the building flexible for the future. So thinking about, just the courts, like I mentioned before, we're going to need all of the things that are needed to make this thing sort of viable as a business asset, as a sports tourism asset, but how can we support community recreation efforts? I saw a bunch of folks playing pickleball here today. I was actually surprised that there was sort of a whole queue of people waiting to play this morning. And then thinking about, and how we can do the same there. You can see one space can be used for a basketball tournament, esports event or concert, or a banquet or corporate event. So these are all the things that we're trying to do to make the building more flexible for the future. And you guys are part of that. We're going to continue to do these workshops. I think, we'll leave some of this stuff up on the screen if anybody wants to copy it or take a picture of it. But these are some of the ways you can stay involved and find out about once dates get solidified. We're trying to be good about posting on social media as well. And then also, thinking about how we can all transition to the next room for our next exercise. I think the main idea is that if you don't have a dot already in a stack of Post-its, you want to grab one from the table out front. And they're sorted by age group. If you feel like you don't want to tell us your age, just grab the pink ones. And the idea here is we want to make this facility multi-generational. We need to understand what different people want and be able to look at the full spectrum of possibilities. So the idea is that you'll have some boards that have images on them. We'd love you to put dots on things that you like. Consider it a like button for the images or even the floor plans that you'll see over there that I just showed. And then the stack of Post-its, feel free to write down something you don't see. Give us a comment or an idea. Maybe you don't like something in the plans. Just tell us, maybe this isn't right for Cary. And if you're feeling like that's not the forum to give us your comments, we put comment boxes on every table. Feel free to write something down on the Post-its, telling us something that you just want us to read separately. We read it all. We look at it all. This is the time where we're taking in information. So I think it's, pretty simple, hopefully. We're going to be over there for as long as you guys want to be over there. And all of our team are wearing these lanyards. So, if you have questions or you want to engage with one of us, please feel free to do so. And if you could, before you leave this room or sometime during the next hour here, take a pop by the map in the back and put one of your stickers on there from where you're from. So we can understand who's here tonight and think about, other groups that we might need to reach out to or haven't been able to reach here today. So with that, I'm going to send everybody over to the other room unless there's anything else you have to add. No? Okay. Everybody get up and get your case done.